We are live. It is day 2 of the Girlfriend Guide to Traveling virtual travel show. Thank you to everyone who joined us live yesterday. And as I said, this is day 2, and I'm excited for this week. I'm bringing you some great information to inspire and educate you and get you eager to get out there and traveling. And in case we haven't met, my name is Anna Hoy, and I am your host for this week of the virtual travel show. And if you joined us yesterday, we took a behind the scenes tour of Italy. So we uncovered some great itineraries for guided tours, I should say, guided tours. And some of these are really great options for girlfriend getaways. So today I have something new. I want to introduce you to Ama Waterways. Ama Waterways is an award-winning river cruise, and today we're going to take a look at Essence of Burgundy and Provence. And joining me today from Ama Waterways, a 27-year industry veteran and business development manager, Richard Bravo, is joining us. So please join me in welcoming Richard. Hi, Richard.
Hey, Anna, happy to be back. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, this is what, our second or third time I think that we've got together and done a live or some kind of recording, right?
That's right. Yes.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you're here today. And as I mentioned, this is the Girlfriend's Guide to Travel, and we are going live every day at 4 p.m. right here on Facebook. So if you miss one, there's going to be a recording. I'll post it on there. But the goal is to feature destinations and itineraries to inspire you, and they're designed for women who love to travel. So if you're like me, a woman who loves to travel, this is for you, and we're glad that you're joining us today. So if you're ready to get started, type ready in the chat, and we will get going. All right, so Richard, we are all set and ready to rock and roll.
Love it. Anna, thank you once again. And thank you everybody that's joining us. If you're not catching it live, then welcome, and thank you for watching this at a later time when maybe it's more convenient for you. But there's a lot I'd love to cover. Believe me, I could talk for hours on our product and our destination and everything that river cruising with Ama Waterways has to offer. But we've had some conversations, Anna and I, prior to this, and we really want to focus on some things and present some things that we think you'll really like. So we kind of narrowed it down to one specific itinerary called Essence of Burgundy and Provence. We think this one would be a fantastic one for you to learn a little bit more about. So I'll be talking about some of those highlights. I will also mention that this is a new itinerary for us. We've got 30 some, close to 40 different itineraries. So this is a new one to our portfolio that's covering a new region that we never sailed through before, which is specifically the Burgundy area up on the Saône River of France, making its way down into Provence on the Rhone River. So taking into really beautiful rivers, really gorgeous part of Eastern France. So again, talking about some highlights there, talking about some things that really distinguish Ama Waterways from our peers. And then also I want to address, because I don't know how many people have ever taken a river cruise. I know that very often people tend to put river cruising in the same bucket as ocean cruising. It's a fair thing. I understand it. But
let's poll the audience. Whoever's watching right now live, we want to know, have you taken a river cruise before? If the answer is yes, give us a thumbs up. If the answer is no, give us a thumbs down. And just so we can kind of gauge, I see we have Kelly watching live. Love to know if you've ever been on a river cruise. I personally have not, but I know you and I were talking a little bit earlier today, and once I saw this itinerary, I was sold.
Absolutely. Listen, it's a great way. You know, you mentioned earlier, I've been blessed to be in the travel industry for so long, and I've enjoyed all forms of travel. I love just enjoying a good weekend road trip. I mean, I love traveling, but there is something that's really intimate and up close and personal with river cruising. That's one reason I like it. And as far as the differences between ocean cruising and river cruising, the similarities truly go about as far as the fact that you unpack once. Beyond that, it really is different. Looking down on this picture, we can see the river there in the back, these calm waters. You don't got to worry about getting seasick on board. You can see that there's land on both sides every step of the journey. We dock right in the hearts of these towns also, and because all of our ships are eco-friendly, that also gives us priority port docking, where we get to dock even closer in some of those different instances. So just an amazing way to let the ship be your luxury floating hotel as it would take you to and through the destination. Now, who is the guest of a river cruise, and even more specifically with AMA Waterways? This slide right here, I think, gives you a really great overview. Very often I'm asked that question, and people want to kind of zero in on the age of the guests that sail with us. And I'm happy to tell you it tends to range from late 50s into about mid 60s for a guest average. Certainly we get some guests that are younger, certainly we get some guests that are older, but more importantly, it's about the mindset and the experience that you're looking for. So that really is what you need to think about. If we look at some of the topics we'll be focusing on today, solo travelers, I'll be talking a little bit about solo travelers, girlfriends travel, of course, but really going to want to highlight some of the food and wine themed departures that we have sailing here too. If you think of food and wine, there is no age limit for this. There is no age restriction. You can't put that into a box. You know, young and old just love a great food and wine experience. And if you go to different wineries, you see people of all ages. So that is a really, really big part of this. We've got a number of special sailings that we've even dedicated to wine and food pairings as well. We call them our celebration of wine sailings, where we will bring along a North American wine host to lead these, basically be a VIP for these particular sailings, putting together some special shore tours, some great discussions, food and wine pairings. So a great opportunity for a girlfriend's getaway. And again, the solo travelers, the guests on AMA Waterways really tend to be incredibly friendly. What I've normally seen is that if somebody joins us and, maybe that first night, they're getting to meet a few people. If not the second night, definitely by the third night, they're dining with people already. They're joining them on those different shore tours. They even have one evening where they can dine with the captain. So, if they want to even head out on their own, there is a concierge aboard that can help them put together some things just for them that they want to do that day also. So
that's
very
awesome. And they're in France, right? And this is the region to be if you were a wine connoisseur, and I believe a foodie as well. Some of the items that you're going to show us here, some of the itinerary. So absolutely. I'm excited.
Yes. So here's a look at the itinerary right now. In fact, I'm going to hop off screen right now because I just want people to kind of focus on the slides that I'll be sharing, but I'll hop back on at the end here, Anna. But this is actually the itinerary that we're looking at right now, looking to highlight. So we always offer with every one of our departures a pre and post option. So while this sailing is specifically operating just within the boundaries of France, we have some pre or post options depending on the direction that you're sailing, where you can do 3 nights in Geneva on the front end if you're going to be beginning up on the north side of this itinerary. From there, we've also got some day trips that'll take you out to Dijon, as well as a beautiful little town of Annecy. It's this wonderful little city in France. And then, of course, you'll board your cruise in Chalon-sur-Saône. Look at all those stops as you make your way down, ultimately disembarking in Arles. And then from there, if you want to continue on, you can spend an additional 3 nights over in Barcelona with a day trip over to Montserrat. So this can just be a 7-night cruise if you want to, or you can certainly expand it up to 50 nights if you like to do that as well. So keep that in mind. Lots of things to take in, especially if you're going to go all the way down there. May as well incorporate as much as you can during that time frame. So I wanted to give you just a few highlights then of this particular itinerary. Then I'll share a few other things also. But this one, located in southern Burgundy at the heart of the Côte de Chalonnais wine region, is a beautiful little town, Chalon-sur-Saône. It's got this wonderful medieval past here from the area. Also, there's a couple of museums here in the area, and pretty interesting, I found out that one of the gentlemen who actually is given credit for starting the first museum was actually born in this town. So there's a museum that's dedicated to him, as well as the first man that's been cited for taking the very first photograph ever, and there's a museum dedicated to him as well too. So lots of things to see, in addition to all the shore tours that we're going to be offering. At every port of call, it's important to know that we will include an average of up to 4 shore tours. So we're really going to give you some choices. I'll spend a little bit more time talking about that, but a wide variety of different things to choose from, whether it's duration or special interests and things that you're looking for. So we really want to make this about choice. Once we depart Chalon-sur-Saône, one of the other highlights along the way, we'll be visiting the town of Tornu France. This is where you're going to find some really lovely Maconnais wines here in the area. One of the other things that a lot of guests like to do here to go out and explore is maybe hop on one of our bicycles. We do offer them with the guided shore tours, but if you don't want to necessarily join up with the entire group, maybe just head out with a few friends or the other person that you may be traveling with, all you need to do is reserve them in advance and you can head out on your own. So those are going to be available for pretty much at every port of call. Another thing that a lot of guests like to do in instances where we're hitting 2 ports in the same day, as we are on this particular day, where you can actually bike from Chalon-sur-Saône all the way down to Tornu. So it's actually a total of about 17 miles. We have a lot of guests that are really into staying fit and being active. And that would be an option for you as well. In addition to that, just talking about the activities, we've got a gym on board every one of our ships also.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about the wellness program aboard AMA, and it's bar none. I mean, I believe you have somebody on each vessel dedicated to wellness on board. Is that correct?
You remember that? Absolutely correct. That's right. So we've got a dedicated health and fitness instructor on board every ship, every sailing, every itinerary. This, gentleman or woman, they are not going to be doubling as your server later on that evening in the dining room. This is what we brought them on board for. That's what they've been hired for. That's right. They're specialists. And we give them a lot of autonomy, which I think is really nice because it just allows them to be really just to be, more inspired by the work that they're doing. So a lot of them will actually do Pilates. Some will mix it up and do yoga on some days and just stretches on other days. They're excellent about engaging with the guest. In fact, we hear very often that a lot of the guests will work with them and put together their own exercise routine that they then take back and continue to do once they've actually gotten off the ship. But it's nice to have these different, active outlets, because we know when you travel, there's a very strong possibility you are going to be eating more. You're probably going to be drinking a little bit more.
No, really?
Have that option.
Especially here.
Yeah, exactly. So you may recognize this slide right here because it's actually Anna's backdrop. Great selection there, Anna. This is actually the countryside of Burgundy. These are some of the wonderful things that we're going to be able to see. Probably one of France's most gorgeous countrysides, actually, at least arguably I would say so. It's got these rolling green hills dotted with mustard fields along the way and a lot of medieval villages that we're going to pass also. And just lots of history from the Renaissance, the Middle Ages, as far back as the Gallo-Roman and Celtic antiquity periods too. So lots of history, and you're always going to have your expert guides with you along the way to sort of, do the storytelling and bringing those things to life and educating you along the way. Some wonderful vineyards that you're going to find in the area right here also. In fact, so good that this general area of the vineyards, just due to the viticulture and the history of it, has been granted UNESCO World Heritage status as well.
That's amazing. And quick question for you. Are you able to purchase wines while you're traveling and take them back on board?
Yes, you can. In fact, it's actually one thing that's a little bit different from ocean cruising. With ocean cruising, you're not allowed to bring those drinks back on board. We actually encourage it for a couple of reasons. One, we know what it's like if you're enjoying something and you want to bring it back, maybe enjoy it, on one of the other evenings while you're on your balcony, just watching that beautiful landscape go by. A lot of guests will even share it with other guests on board that they, become friends with, or you just want to pack it up safely and bring it back home too. So you can absolutely do that. So great question.
Thank you.
Off to the right side there, we see the Chateau Comartin. We're going to have a chance to visit this lovely chateau as well. It's got this beautiful moat that surrounds it. It was built back in the early 1600s, about 1606. And it was actually designed in what they've noted as a military style facade. And so we'll get a chance to visit this, get a little tour there. And then there's always going to be some free time beyond the shore tours that you can enjoy some leisurely time as you want on your own. We don't like our guests to feel as though they're, jumping onto these shore tours and having to race back to the ship and not having some extra time to explore some things on their own.
Yeah, and if I understand on the short tours, I believe that it's geared towards all different activity levels. So there's a gentle, there's a regular, and there's an active excursions. Is that correct?
That's right. Absolutely. So a gentle would be an example of, my parents are elderly, but they still want to get out and see some things too, but maybe something that isn't as long in duration, where possible, if there's a chance to maybe avoid some steps or things like that, but it's still going to include some highlights. The regular is going to kick it up a notch, include just a little bit more, maybe be a little bit slightly longer. And then you have the more active, which would be something like the guided cycling tours. It could be something like a guided hiking tour. But those are just, a few different categories. Within each of those categories, it can range from food and wine pairings to, visiting a vineyard and some centuries old estates and cellars. It could be walking tours. So a lot of different things that make up our short tour program. And if that's not enough, We've also got our late risers program. If somebody just wants to sleep in a little bit longer, or
That's
on
my
a
husband.
well, that's my wife. So, sleep in longer, enjoy your breakfast, sip on the coffee, and get more of a later mid-morning start too. So, not everybody offers these things that I'm sharing right now. These are the things that really distinguish us from our peers in the industry. So please keep some of those things in mind.
Yes, thank you for addressing that. And then I just wanted to mention, I believe that you also are able to accommodate special needs travelers.
That's a good question. And, to a certain degree, I want to be clear and transparent about that. A lot of it depends on, whatever the restrictions may be. If there's some severe restrictions, there may be some things that we're not able to do. We do have
Gotcha.
scooters that can be rented on board. Because we're going to Europe, a lot of it is, literally hundreds and hundreds of years older than our country. A lot of things don't necessarily meet like ADA requirements. So if there's anybody that has any questions on whether or not the person they're traveling with, or they themselves may be able to do some things, let us know in advance, and we can kind of walk through that with them just to make sure that it's going to be the experience that they're looking for.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you for addressing that, Richard. Appreciate it.
So Lyon, France, I want to talk a little bit about this because I really think it's a highlight. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. Lots to see and explore here. This area that we're looking at right now onto is Fauvier Hill. Here, as you kind of explore and go back a little bit more, you're going to see some of those old medieval buildings, those old cobblestone streets, some great shops, and just a wonderful town to kind of go through and get lost. Some great restaurants and things as well. You can take the hike up the hill, make your way over to the basilica that we see off to the right side also. That's a Fauvier Basilica. There's a little tram that'll take you up, actually a funicular that'll take you up, and then you can maybe walk back down if you like, or you can walk up and take the funicular back down. But just a great way to get some exercise, certainly worth the views that you're going to be able to take in. One other really exciting thing about Lyon that a lot of people don't know is that there's a lot of old passageways that are actually, I forget the name of them, that they're actually called there, but these passageways were actually designed for the silk makers. So, well, Lyon was actually not a part of the silk route itself. It's probably fair to say that it was a bit of a tributary because a lot of silk was made here. These passageways were made so the silk traders could easily and quickly get their goods, underground, make their way all the way over to the river and get their goods onto the ship to make it down to the silk route too. So if you're looking for some great silks, this is the place where you're going to want to look for that as well. This next slide just shows you the views looking down onto the river. So across the river here now, we're looking at the newer part of Lyon. You see that large square there in the picture to the right. Number of bridges that cross the river here also, so easy access to either side, but some great restaurants, fantastic shopping on the other side as well too. So again, lots to see and do here. But one of the highlights that I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about if they're thinking of food is Lyon. Everybody knows about France, and that's an amazing experience. I'll be honest, my personal preference is Lyon. It's maybe because it's not as many people think about it. It certainly gets
little
crowded.
Hidden treasure, right?
Yeah, I mean, a bit. I'd say, I mean, if you're comparing them, Lyon with Paris, I would say that's the case. But really, if you're thinking of gastronomical experiences, we've got a great tour here, lots of fantastic food from the area, things that are really unique to the area. One of those big things is going to be the cheeses. So many different cheeses that you can taste from here also. And one of the flavors that you'll find that's kind of popular comes from the creative balancing that they do of the brown butter with these roasted nuts that offers this really wonderful sweet finish. The Comté cheese is a really popular one from that. But then beyond that, you have the Lyonnaise sausage and the brioche. So this is just a sample of some things that you'll be able to experience in addition to those wonderful wines along the way too, right? So we know this is going to be something really, really fun experience.
Quick question before you move on, if I may. So the food and wine, are you able, if you're on board, to schedule any private wine tastings or any, cooking classes or any private food tastings, anything of that nature?
That's a great question. So there's a couple ways I'll answer that. The first one I'll address is if you do a specialty group, let's say you do like a culinary experience. So Anna, if you know some people out there, maybe a wonderful chef that wants to lead and do an experience like this, if you get just 20 people to go and do that experience, then we would be able to help you coordinate some of those special experiences, just like you described. Maybe you go out and you do a cooking demonstration or food and wine pairing that's unique just for your group, that's separate from the other things that we're offering.
Ooh,
So
that's really
something you
cool.
can definitely do. Now, beyond that, I would say you can certainly help some of your guests plan that. What you would just want to make sure of is that you're going to be in port long enough where if they want to enjoy some of the shore tours we've put together, that there's going to be ample free time to do some of the other things that you may want to add as a bonus for them too.
That's a very good point. So then how long are they in this destination, Lyon?
In Lyon, we're going to be there pretty much the full day. So it really is a full day. We'll arrive there late evening, and then we're going to be there the full day the next afternoon. Yep.
Awesome.
So lots of time here. Okay. And then continuing on, just a couple of other highlights that I wanted to mention. Avignon, lots of history here. Once again, this beautiful walled city right on the river, aptly nicknamed the City of Popes. A lot of people name be aware of this, but it was actually the center of the Catholic Church in the 14th century when the Vatican basically had moved over to France. They had the first French Pope, and he decided that he did not want to leave and go to Rome, so he stayed here. And there were about 6 other popes that followed him afterwards. And then it even led to what they called the Western Schism, when there were actually dual popes, because they had moved back to Rome, and you had one sitting in Rome, and you had one sitting here in France still. So some interesting stories behind that. But beyond that, my wife and I had a chance to experience this just a couple of years ago. It is just, you just don't have anything like it here in the States, from the walled cities, these wonderful old little passageways to go and explore, a lot of great little artisan shops and great little cafes and restaurants. And again, you're going to have some ample time here. We'll offer a really nice tour for you as well. But that's definitely a highlight. And then final destination, Arles, France. This, of course, is where Van Gogh stayed. He created some masterpieces like The Starry Night, Cafe Terrace at Night. This is also where he suffered his infamous breakdown as well. He was here for about a total of 2 years, but we offer a really wonderful walking tour here as well, in addition to a number of other choices for you and that free time that we've been sharing as well too. So these again were just some highlights, but we really wanted it to pick something that we thought was going to be sort of a star in the portfolio. I mean, there's no bad decision, but this one is new to all of our different itineraries, and it's really getting a lot of attention right now. So keep in mind, you can add those pre and post options as well with Geneva and Barcelona. And then the final thing, and I did touch upon some of these, but I'll highlight them just a little bit further. One of the things that really makes AMA Waterways special is our crew, and more specifically, our cruise managers. I know that if you talk to anybody else, they're probably going to say the exact same thing that I'm saying, but I really kind of like to take this one on because I really believe firmly that we have the best crew in the industry. Our peers have some wonderful products. I have to be entirely fair in acknowledging that, but there's a reason that AMA Waterways has consecutively earned more awards, accolades, and recognitions than any one of our peers in the industry. And I have to point to our cruise managers in particular because of that. They are with their guests before the cruise and after the cruise, leading them on some excursions there to kind of hold their hand, point them in the right direction, and building that rapport before our guests have even stepped on board the ship. They are the only ones in the industry that offer that sort of service. So I think that's really big, and they're just filled with a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, that just definitely makes AMA stand out. And I don't know if we mentioned it, but AMA Waterways is family owned and operated for how many years now?
19 years now, just over 19 years.
Yeah, and I think that some of the elements, you can see the personal touch that the owners have put into, they thought of everything from the design of the cabins, to the food, to the layout of the ship, to the excursions, to the wellness coordinators, to the cruise managers. So that's amazing that you pointed that out, and I can see that in all the slides that you've showed us so far.
Yep, thank you for that acknowledgement, really. And I do sincerely believe the things that I'm sharing, which is why I love working for this company, and being in sales, but it's really easy to present this product because I really do believe it is absolutely one of the best of anything that you'll experience. This I already talked a little bit about, Anna, when you asked a question about the shore tour program. So again, wide variety, lots of choices, and very easy to change some things also. My wife, when we were on our last cruise, we signed up for one tour in advance, and then we got to listen to one of the evening discussions from the cruise manager. as he was talking about the next day's ports of call and what their short tours were going to be. And we're like, I think we want to do that one. So it was as simple as just going down to the concierge desk, making a quick change. We showed up and easy peasy, not a problem at all. So it really is very simple. We don't want it to be complicated at all for our guests. The last part, and this is really big, especially if we're talking about the wine and the food experience. So one thing that we like to do is really make it about the food experience. I mean, if I go on just an overnight trip, if I'm out of town, I want to enjoy something local to the place that I'm visiting that I'm not going to be able to get back home to. So if you like those type of experiences, we have 2 restaurants on board every one of our vessels. We have the main dining room that I like to say operates as a progressive dining experience. And what I mean by that is, as we're passing through the different countries, the regions and towns, those things that are unique to those areas, those flavors that are unique to those areas that we're passing through, we're going to experience that on board the ship as well. So you're going to see that menu in the main dining room continually changing. But if you just want to have that steak every night, if you just want that Caesar salad to enjoy, we've got that also for you. So that's the main dining room. What we're looking at in this particular slide is our chef's table restaurant. This is an alternative dining experience. You just need to make reservations once you get on board the ship, but there's no added charge for this. This is included. And while it is a 6-course meal, I like to describe it more so as a tasting menu. And that's because within each of these courses, you're going to have between 2 to 3 different options. Once again, if this is me, I want to taste as much as I can. So you're welcome to do that. There's going to be up to about 4 different wine pairings with a couple of whites and some reds there for you. Our servers are very, very generous. They will continue topping off your glass. So, feel free to enjoy as much as you like. But what really pulls it together, I think, is that you actually get to witness the chef and his team preparing the food, plating the food, bringing it out, and just putting together these wonderful presentations. And you're taking in these amazing views because we're located at the back of the ship where you get these great floor-to-ceiling views of all the scenery that you're passing by too. It's my favorite experience on board the ship, hands down. So
yeah, that sounds like an elevated experience. And I understand you guys are well known for your culinary experiences. And if someone has a special diet, like they're vegan or vegetarian or gluten-free, if I understand correctly, it's very easy to travel with any kind of diet requests or restrictions.
That's absolutely right too. So once again, let us know in advance. It's always good so we can prepare some things in advance. Unfortunately, there have been some instances where somebody gets on board and something wasn't relayed to us. But having shared that, they operate very quickly on their feet and they can make some things happen. But it's always nice to know that you can have those things already, prepared and that they're expecting it too. So
yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. That's why you use a travel agent, right? Because you plan in advance and we can take care of all those details for you. So thank you for pointing that out.
That's exactly right. So the last slide that I really want to end on right here, hopefully you found that inspiring and educational, and you want to reach out to Anna for some more details. Inquire about this date that we're looking at right here. Anna literally inquired about this today. So she received a proposal looking at a group departure for next year on this very itinerary that we just reviewed. It's October 27th of next year. So if you found this interesting, just reach out to her, see what some of the pricing are, see what it is to do some of those pre and post land options. We also have a special offer in addition to what you'll find as part of the group and certain promotions. An added benefit is that if anybody books within 2 weeks from today being day number 1, so within 14 days of your book, you'll receive an additional $100 savings per person. And that's on top of any other benefits that you may get just from booking with Anna. And she does have access to some of those different offers there as well.
Yeah, so, I love special promotions. Thank you. That's awesome. Absolutely. And yeah, this tour date would be amazing for individuals, small groups, anybody looking to travel and for a special occasion. This would be a great opportunity. And the itinerary that we just looked at is amazing. I mean, I'm ready to sign up right now, Richard. Couple of quick questions for you. Could you share with the audience about the sustainability travel? I know Amma is involved in sustainability travel.
That's correct. So all of our ships have earned the a green award. Basically, it started with our ship, the Ama Cristina, back in 2018. She was the very first river cruise ship ever to receive that recognition. It's now extended to all of our entire fleet, and it really is just being eco-friendly, environmentally friendly, and conscious of those different things. We're moving to all glass bottles on board, for instance. No things like plastic on board. The waste systems that we use on board the ship. So all these different things have really come together to ensure that we that we are being conscious of the environment. And because of that, if you remember that note that I mentioned earlier, it also gives us access to things like priority docking when we're stopping in these different towns along the way too. So
That's
great
fabulous.
question. Thank you.
Thank you. And then would you say this itinerary would be great for a first-time river cruiser?
I think my honest opinion is that anyone is going to be great for a first-time river cruiser. There's some that might be a little more niche that, maybe it's nice if you do another experience and kind of build up to that. But this one I think is absolutely perfect for first-time river cruise. And so much of it, I could sit here and say, no, you need to do the Rhine or Danube first, just because we have so many itineraries on those two rivers and because those do tend to be popular ones for first-time river cruiser. But the bottom line is, what are you looking for? If you've wanted to go to France, and you want to explore this region, then this is the one that you want to do for your first one, right? So that's really what you have to keep in mind.
Good point. And then I have a question for you about solo travel program. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yes. So we do have a nice program for solo travelers. Very often when single travelers travel, unfortunately, a lot of them will have to pay for somebody else that's not traveling with them. Really,
right,
they're
double.
charging extra full 100% for somebody that's not even with them. So while we do charge a single supplement, it's only 25% additional. So that is available in any of our entry level staterooms for any of our European departures. It's in what we call our fixed window staterooms. Once you upgrade from there, that single supplement can increase a little bit. So if you're looking at one of our French balcony or twin balcony staterooms, that could potentially go to 50%, although there are some select departures that will offer a French balcony or twin balcony for just 25% additional too. It's not available on every sailing, but there are some select departures too. So once again, please check with Anna. And Anna, you may want to share your email address. I'm sorry I don't have a slide here showing that, and phone number if anybody wants to reach you directly.
Yeah, I will definitely share that. But before I do, if you could share with me, and I know you touched on it, but if you wouldn't mind sharing what is included. I know that on ocean cruises are a little bit different than river cruises. So if someone's thinking about going and they're wondering what is included in the price of my fare.
So all of the shore tours that I mentioned, up to 4 at every port of call, you will have your choice to select from any one of those. There will be no additional charge for your shore tours. All your meals will be included on board the ship. At every lunch, at every dinner, all of your premium beers and wines are included. We have an open bar cocktail hour each evening before dinner as well. If you want champagne for breakfast, we've got that included. With the drinks, it's really that time after lunch up to cocktail hour and then after dinner that drinks are not included. But you could purchase them for a nominal fee, but that's by design. So please take note of that. It's by design. When you're in these places and in the destination, the ship is not the destination, right? It's that luxury floating hotel. You're probably not going to go to an all-inclusive property in one of these towns that you're visiting and spend the full day at the hotel just to have that drink that's included, right? Hopefully you're off at a local wine bar, a local pub, doing some shopping, getting to know the destination. When you come back on shore, on board the ship to dine and things, those drinks will be included, and they're premium beers and wines. I want to point that out also. Some of our peers in the industry may include a complimentary house wine for you and then charge you for that more desirable wine. We're going to include really nice regional premium wines and beers at all the places that we're passing through. So all those things are included. The bicycles that I mentioned also, if you just want to head out in town on your own, you can do that as well. Just amazing service on board. So all those things are included. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And it sounds like this is an amazing vacation for a girl's getaway, whether it be a multi-generation, a solo female traveler, just a group of girlfriends that want to get away, or for a retreat or a special occasion celebration. This to me seems like a fantastic opportunity for that. If you're interested in getting more information, I'm sorry, go ahead. I
was going to say one more note too, because I know sometimes people, and my wife and I are kind of like this also, if we're going to even take a day trip with different people sometimes, it's kind of like, are they going to want to do the same things that I want to do? So sometimes people can be a little leery of that. But here's a really nice thing, and this happens very often because we offer such a wide variety. Hang out together when you all want to do the same things. Very often some people will go and, well, we're going to go and do the bike tires. We're going to go, the bicycling. We're going to go and do the wine tours. That's just more opportunity to come back and have some great conversation at dinner later on that evening. So there's something for everybody to do. You don't have to stick with each other 100% of the time.
I like that flexibility because people do want you know, just because they're in a group doesn't mean they all want to do exactly the same thing at exactly the same time. So I love the flexibility. So thank you for pointing that out.
Sure.
And if you are interested in getting on board AMA Waterways and especially the essence of Burgundy and Provence, I would love to help you get there. Whether it's for this date or for another date, you can reach me at my email address is ahoy@dreamvacations.com, or feel free to send me a DM and I'll happily reach out to you and get you on my calendar and we will get you traveling. So thank you so much, Richard, for this great information. Do you think we covered everything, or is there anything else that you would like to add?
You know, I think those are all the main items. Certainly, you know, people may have specific questions, but I know that they can reach out to you, and you, I don't know, of course, you can reach out to me, but keep in mind that special promotion. Also, we'd love for you to be able to take advantage of that and get that set up for you as well. But yeah, if you have any questions on any other destinations, you know, let us know. We're happy to answer some questions there for you as well too.
Thank you. And so today is October the 19th. So we have 14 days from today to take advantage of that special promotion.
That's right.
Yes. Awesome. So thank you again, Richard. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing some valuable information on this wonderful destination. Thank you again.
You got it.
Thank you for watching the day 2 of the Girlfriend's Guide to Traveling virtual travel show. Tomorrow, we are going to be featuring Royal Caribbean, their brand new, well, it's not brand new, amplified ship that is now on the West Coast, the Navigator of the Seas, and we're going to feature the Mexican Riviera. So come back tomorrow at 4 p.m. for that, and thank you for watching, and reach out to me if you want more information on how to get on board AMA Waterways. I know I'm intrigued, I'm excited. So thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, everybody.